Hey guys, so I'm just gonna paint a pinup girl in this. I'm not a professional or anything like that. I've never been formally trained, but I hope somebody can find something useful in this. But right now I'm just laying in, the sketch, and I am using reference, by the way, thanks to Perfect Muse on DeviantArt for letting me use it. But yeah, I'm just getting the basic sketch in so I have something to follow. I'm really not too worried about how clean my lines are. I really just want to get it in. I'm probably gonna change proportions and everything later on. But it's good to have a base to start from. I don't always start with lines. Sometimes I'll just start with a silhouette or I'll just start painting. But I find that I paint a lot faster if I do have at least a little bit of a sketch. And I put it on a different layer, and then I put a background behind it like I'm doing here. And it's mainly just I don't like the white to paint on a white background, so I just always throw something in. And then I put a new layer, and I'm just blocking in a really dark color just to have a base to paint on. And pretty much I use the round hard brush for almost everything throughout this entire process. I did use a custom brush for the background just to add some texture, and you'll see me use an airbrush later on and maybe a speckled brush just to add something to the skin and maybe to the clothes. But for the most part, I use just a round hard brush with the opacity set to the stylus pressure option. But yeah, I'm just blocking in the colors, and I try to get all the colors basically correct as quickly as I can. I just like to have everything consistent. You can notice that her bra there looks black, but I don't like to use black. It's actually a very saturated and dark purple, maybe a little bit of red. But yeah, I don't know. I don't use black too much. I think typically I tend to start detailing the face before anything else, and I think it's the hardest for me, and I struggle with it. So I figure if I can, get it out of the way quick and get it to where it looks decent, that way for the rest of the painting I'll feel pretty confident. If I can't get the face right, usually I'll just abandon the whole painting. But yeah, I'm just basically laying in the colors, and you'll notice I sample from other colors throughout the whole painting. Like I will go down and use the color picker or the palette, but I like to mix the colors, so I'll pick a color and then paint on top of the other colors using a very light stroke, just so the computer kind of does the mixing for me, and I don't have to pick exactly the right color when I'm painting. And I think it's a good way to get consistent colors throughout your painting. Because if you're doing an oil painting, you're gonna pick up other colors throughout the entire process. So yeah, that's why I do that. And another thing about color is shadows. I tend to heavily saturate those colors. Like I don't like I said, I don't use black, but I will, like, say underneath her chin is an orange, but I've saturated the orange more than the rest of the skin tone. And I think I've just found out, like, from studying photos, that's typically how shadows work. Highlights tend to be less saturated, and shadows are typically more saturated. Hair is another thing I think I kind of struggle with, and this is kind of a rush job. I was trying to do this as quickly as I could, but um, yeah, the hair's not so good. You'll notice that I tend to flip the canvas horizontally a lot. it just helps me find mistakes, and it's just good to kind of get a new perspective on it. Okay, and right here I'm using the liquify filter. I find that extremely helpful when I'm doing faces. It's because you don't always get everything just right, and it's a really simple way to move around the features of the face without having to redraw everything. It's a big time saver. I think I'm still using just the round hard brush. I haven't even switched to airbrush yet. Not even entirely sure I do. Well, yeah, I do. I do later on. But yeah, I'm just kind of working down the painting. I usually try to keep the level of detail pretty consistent the whole time I'm working. I try not to detail one part too heavily. I'm not really sure why I do that. It's just kind of how I do it. The face might be the only difference in that. I try to get the face to where I'm pretty happy with it. Like I'm not happy with this face right now, but it's enough of it is there to where I'm not completely horrified by the results. So, but I will go back and fix it later on. And there you can see another thing what I was talking about with the shadows of her arm, how it's you know and her dress there, just a really saturated color. I think it tends to look good. And another thing, if you're working from reference like I am, don't pick your colors. Don't use the eyedropper tool and actually sample the colors off the photo, because you don't really learn anything that way. I think you get a far better idea of what's going on if you um, actually choose the colors for yourself. And honestly, I'll go back later on and kind of tweak the colors with the color balance tool and the hue saturation tool. But it's yeah, it's good to choose your own colors. Like if you're doing an oil painting, you're not going to be able to sample colors from something else. You're going to have to mix your own. So it's just a good habit, I think, to do. You can see that I'm you know painting over all my sketch lines that I put in. I very rarely ever leave any type of line or outline or anything like that. Unless I'm trying to get a comic book style look, but in this case I'm really not. But even then I don't know. I don't really like the outline. I like to be able. I like lighting, and I think the outline is not so realistic to how it would actually look under real lighting conditions. But yeah, there's another very high saturated shadow. Not not the right color I should have used, but I think I fix it later. Hope I fix it later. And I probably should have done a better job on the feet, but I was really trying to go fast, so parts that should have had more time spent on them were kind of rushed, but you get the idea. So I think I'm just gonna be quiet now and just let you watch, because uh, yeah, I pretty much am just continuing to detail and do the things that I have been doing. But like I said, I hope somebody can pull something out of this and learn something maybe, or just enjoy watching it. So thanks for looking, and yeah, thanks.